strawberries or the cool kids sitting in the corner like they're hiding away from the way they used to fall in love with someone new every Saturday. I want you bad like they say in every cliche song about teenage love, just a few cruel jumbled up years.
Hello. There we go. Welcome to episode 43. Kind of splice 2 of the episode. So today it's now Thursday. And I was rushing on Monday to try and film everything, so I might be splicing some old footage in with some new footage. So there's potential progress differences. We'll just kind of see what happens. So I am wearing the Izumi sweater again because I felt like at least then I'd know that these videos all go together. But it's a wonderful pattern. Also, homemade pumpkin spice lattes, thanks to Joanna, who is Opera Joe, who runs the, out of breath a little, who runs the Stitching the High Notes podcast. Yes, that's right. She put up a little video maybe 2 weeks ago, 2.5, about how she makes a homemade pumpkin spice latte by using real pumpkin puree in her milk froth portion. It's fantastic. I actually went out yesterday and I made sure to grab some pumpkin spice because all I was using before was cinnamon, which does work quite fine. But just that blend, like with the ginger and the clove, the nutmeg and the cinnamon, I'm sure there's something else in there. It works so well. So let's talk about some knitting. So as you can tell, if you have seen my Instagram and have eyeballs to see what I am wearing, you can tell that I have finished the Izumi sweater. It is by Natalie, I believe it's Celis, I think. It's a wonderful pattern. I used the Akara yarns that I got not too long ago. I love it. I'm gonna jump forward so that you guys can see the sweater. I did end up doing a little bit of the lace detail and cable detail on both sleeves. Hopefully that's fairly focused, which I really like. It's supposed to have, I think, another round of them as well, but I didn't have enough yarn, which is fine. As you can see, the lace pattern on the front is at both shoulders. There's the other one. And then on the back, let's do a little bit of this. The fold is only down there because I had it folded on my desk in the other room. But on the back, it goes all the way across. Ta-da! I absolutely love this sweater. It's super duper comfy. Let's get this back to being somewhat focused over there. Sure, maybe. We'll see how that goes. A few things about this sweater. Let's see. The yarn I use is an MCN Superwash, which is totally fine and lovely. It's so soft and squishy. It's from Akara Yarns. It is the Save the Date colorway. What can I tell you about this sweater? Did I talk about last time how like the collar, the first time I knit it, was way too tight? It's still a little tight now. Like, I definitely have to be kind of careful when I put it on and take it off, but I like how it sits here. It's a little higher than I think it looks in the pattern, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I like a boat neck, but I find they can be kind of hard to wear, so this works quite well. As for the sleeves, they are definitely roomy. Could I have done them smaller with more decreases? Yes. But I kind of like how it's just roomy and cozy. I think when I finished knitting them, they came to more about there on my wrist, but I had a feeling that they would be able to get lengthened to about the perfect length. It has cooled off here quite a bit, but I mean, been up and down a few times, and I'm tucking, which kind of sometimes makes me nervous. So I feel like it's not quite like NCN sweater weather, but whatever. I don't have a shirt on underneath, so yay. As for works in progress, I have really been focusing a lot of time onto my next sweater. First off, I was running out of yarn, which is fine. I knew I was starting with a little bit different yardage requirement. However, I played with my gauge like crazy because I knit, the 40-inch bust size, which I think is size 3, I think somewhere in there. And my finished project is actually a 46-inch bust here, which is exactly how I want this thing to fit. The arms, I will admit, are a little bigger than I was hoping for because my arm is actually there, but it's so cozy, it's so comfortable. I don't know how the pilling is going to go in the underarm area. So far it's fine. Because it is an MCN yarn, I mean, it's going to pill anyway. All sweaters pill. Can we just accept that? Yarn pills. I think the only thing that doesn't pill is probably linen. But linen has a tendency to shed depending on the fibers and all that. And then I'm assuming acrylic doesn't shed either, just because of the nature of its fibers. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I love this thing, but when it came to the arms, I think the first part of it, because for me, it's that much more of an exaggerated drop shoulder because of the extra ease that I have in here, which I didn't think about prior to starting the sleeves. I just kind of went for it. So I think I had to knit until here, and then it was the first increases. It's something like, you know, knit 6 inches and then here's your decreases. So I did the first set as per the pattern, which is about 1 decrease every inch, like 1 decrease row. I knew it was going to be way too long of an arm if I had enough yarn, if I continued that way, because by the time I finished like 3 of those decreases, I was pretty much at my elbow. Not good. And in order to fit some of the lace in that's on the arms, it's supposed to be more of it as well. I think you're ending up supposed to have 5 cable repeats at the end, I think, like 5 leaves. Maybe it's, yeah, I think that would be 5. Anyway, I knew I didn't have enough yarn and I was going to knit the sleeve shorter, so I didn't have enough room to do the full repeat. So on my pattern, I ended up going through, because the chart is there, and I knew if I continued, so I marked like the beginning of the chart would have been row X, and then if I decreased every, I think I ended up doing every 4 rows, so about every half an inch. I don't know, maybe it was still every inch. Anyway, I ended up figuring out like how long the sleeve would be to get to about, I think it was 17 inches, I think. Anyway, when I finished blocking them, they sat to about here. So about just shorter than wrist length, more of like a, I don't know, that length. Which is fine. If they had stayed there, it wouldn't have been a problem for me, but I knew with blocking that they would end up fitting more into that kind of hand palm area. It's a light color difference in this front panel because I knit the body from the bottom up, alternating every row between, I guess, 2 skeins essentially, and then brought in a third. As I was knitting it, because I was alternating for the longest time, the colors just blended really nicely. When I got to this part and knit this exclusively of 1 skein, because I didn't want that extra bulk from carrying yarns up the one side, I didn't realize that it's slightly different. So this up here is more purple, down here is a little bit more brown. To be honest with you, didn't really notice until it was done. Not a big deal. The back is that much more cohesive. Again, it was 1 skein for each different skeins, but this was 1 skein from kind of the shoulder split up. The back, same thing, 1 skein from the shoulder split to the top of the shoulder seam. When I was knitting the charts, I made extra caution to make sure that I ended both charts on the same, like after completing the same chart row, so that when I Kitchenered the 2 together, they would match up as close as possible. The one thing that I kind of wish the front pattern went a little bit further, because the back goes all the way to the neckline. Like, I just wish they kind of matched a little bit more in the front, but it's fine. It's super stunning, super pretty. I actually wore this out the other day because the weather has cooled down. I'm so excited. Like, I'm in track pants now, a full-on sweater, and I am comfy. I am so excited that the heat has kind of kicked the can, and we've had some rain, which is fantastic because it helps to cool things down, but it's also been hella hot. I am so thankful for the rain and these cooler days. I am a much happier human being. The next thing I'm going to talk about is my sweater. So last time I think I was talking to you how I knit the wrong size of the body of my Stasis pullover. Litter box time. Anyway, so I haven't ripped it out yet because, I don't know, that just seems like a really sad thing to do. I'm also contemplating steeking it twice and maybe making it into like a headband. I don't know. Just to get the practice in. Why not? And I didn't block that part either. We're by Leela Robb. It I believe it was written originally for Brooklyn Tweed. So I am using the Harrisville Designs Shetland yarn. Yeah, Shetland cones, which have approximately 900 yards on them. So I have way more than I need for the charcoal, but I'm also a little concerned. Last night when I stopped knitting this, which was probably around here, I had about 3 more inches to knit. It seems really short to me. I think it'll get a little bit of length just because everything will sit that much flatter when I block it. But if I stand up here and put it to where this one falls, well, I guess 3 more inches isn't that far. But like if it's right under my armpits now, let's say about an inch under, it would just hit the top of my jeans, I guess. I don't know. I don't know bottom up construction very well. I feel, is there a trick out there? Like, I believe it's for hats, there's like a ratio where you can use your hand. Like if you hold it here where you want your brim to go from palm of the hand up onto there, where my fingers end is where I would start my crown decreases. I think that's a thing. I think it's a Stephanie Pearl McPhee thing, the yarn harlot. I might be wrong on that. Maybe it's, no, I'm pretty sure it's like this, I think. There's also ones for socks, you know, like from here to your finger is the length of the foot before you start the toe decreases, something like that. I wonder if there is that kind of ratio thing for sleeves on bottom up sweaters. Like I have both sleeves done. If I knit the body before I'm supposed to attach everything to be 2 inches less, is that gonna hit at the right length? I don't know if anybody knows if there is something like that. Let me know. Pass it on and I will then share the wealth of knowledge with you. But it's coming along fairly well. It's mindless at this point. I mean, I'm just knitting in the round. But let's say I have 3 more inches to go on the body before I believe I connect everything. It's not gonna take me that long. My goal, if I push, is to get this finished for Knit City. That's 2 weekends from now. I could potentially wear it unblocked, but I would like to block it. And with the cooler days that have been happening, things take a little bit longer. So by the end of this weekend, today's Monday, by the end of this week's weekend, I want to have this done. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. But that has been my main man right now, which is the stasis pullover. So I don't have it on like the largest needle possible because I don't like knitting on very large cables. Obviously it's enough to go around, but they're a bit scrunched up, which is fine by me. The end keeps flipping up, which I think will be fine after blocking. It's not flipping up actually right at the ribbing. It's flipping more kind of where my first few rows of color work are. So I think my tension might be a little tight for the first few rows, but whatever. Tried it on and it fits better. So there it is. Maybe I'll run forward again. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So bottom ribbing, color work, which looks kind of funky because it's not like super flat and stretched out. But I did the Philosopher Wools two-handed stranded color work. And now I'm just knitting in the round. Stockinette 4 days, but actually not that many more days. This is the cone that I am working from. doesn't have much left. It's actually quite light now. The other ones that I have from the same people, so the blue has the least amount worked from. This gray cone has the most worked from. So I mean, I've done a lot of knitting. And the one cone that I've used for the sleeves in the gray looks like this. So I mean, I used some, but definitely have tons more to go, which is fantastic. So since I recorded on Monday, I've made quite a bit more progress. The body is done and the sleeves have been attached. What? Yeah. So I've been working on this quite a bit. I'm really liking it. I haven't tried it on since putting the sleeves on, but I did try the body on, and I think the length is good. I believe I knit it about half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch longer. It just kind of happened. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'd almost rather have it a slight bit longer than too short, because too short is just going to mean I don't wear it. So I think it'll work out well. Attaching the sleeves was a bit of a pain, and I think it's because I like working on a shorter circumference needle. I believe this one is a 32, which is fine, but because my needles, I guess these are like the 5-inch needle tip things. It's a fixed circular, but those sleeve stitches ended up being really awkward for the first few rounds. And I think it's just because it's kind of like a smaller circumference onto a larger one, because they're still open at the armpit, so you kind of have to work around the outside of the shoulder, which is fine. It's definitely not as much of an issue now, which is good. But I think the next part of the pattern, yeah, okay, here we go. So I end up doing a few setup rounds, and then I'm on the last section of the color work, which is kind of amazing. So you can see the color work comes in up here. So I'm just before that. Not bad at all. I think it's more of a, how many repeats would that be? 1. It's almost like 2.5 repeats of the bottom chart, kind of, which isn't too bad. I have no idea if my row gauge is even on point. I believe I'm quite a bit over. It is what it is. I think in the end of it, it's going to fit how it fits, and it's going to be a great learning point. And we'll just kind of have to see. But yeah, I'm super happy with it. I cannot wait to have it all completed and see how the heck it all comes together. I do have a question for anybody who might have some information on the answer. With this pattern, it has both raglan decreases and the circular yoke. I don't know why, because I've looked at other like color work yoke patterns and they're just circular yokes. There isn't any raglan kind of after you finish the yoke. So I did send a message to this designer. I haven't heard anything back, which, I mean, I'm not expecting anything back within like crazy amount of time. But what would the reason be? Is it to try and take it in at the armpits a little more so that you don't have like as much like puckering there? I don't know. I also didn't do any of the waist shaping, which was very minimal in the pattern, but it's turning out wonderful. And I'm hoping, so today is Thursday the 21st. Knit City is next weekend. Like Friday, stuff starts happening. There's the lecture with Stephen West, which I'm not going to. But like next week is like, it's here. I want to have it done. I want to have it done and blocked for Knit City. I don't know if that's going to happen. Fingers crossed. I mean, it could get done for Sunday. That's even more of a possibility, but I really, really want to get it done. Finished the test knit mittens for the wonderful ladies of Flock Fiber. I have not blocked them because they look fine when they're on. So these are Les Mittens. It's focused. So they're really nice. I really like them. They're hard to show because they're such a dark yarn, but they're wonderful. Thumbs up. Really great pattern. I believe with this mitten pattern there might be some further corrections going on. I don't know if I knit mine differently than other people, but mine seem to lay like evenly on the hand. They don't seem to be overly cockeyed or anything, which I think one of the test knitters had found with hers. So we'll see when that pattern comes out. I haven't heard anything else and I haven't seen it pop up on Ravelry, but it's great if you, depending on when it comes out, if you need a quick pair of mittens. It's worsted weight and fun, really fun. I highly suggest it. I think they'll fit a lot of great needs for gift knitting and things because they're just super, super pretty. But yeah, so those got finished as well. And I've actually been working on some crochet stuff. So now are they all here? Let's see. So a while ago, which now I'm missing one. It's in the other room, that's why, which is okay. So I have been knitting, i.e. crocheting, by Green Letter Day, I believe is her Instagram name. So this was one of my first ones. Actually, I think these both were, but I added an extra row to this one. I want this to be focused. There we go. So I've done some circles. Some crocheted circles from the Maya Granny blanket, which is stunning. These ones that I've shown you are all in DK weight. There's another little one, which I need to go around one more time with the Varenville. But I love them. I think they're so cute. And then because I just felt like kind of experimenting, I did some pumpkin spice-esque ones as well, which are all leftovers. This is some worsted weight leftovers from Richard DeVries. Can't remember what that base is called, but it's a very pretty autumny color. And then the orange is Orange Flower Yarns Polworth DK in the orange peel colorway. And another one with a lot of orange, just to see kind of how it looked. My plan is to potentially make some sets of them as coasters for people because I think they're just super cute. And before I start the blanket, I'd like to master my tension with them a little bit more. The first two I did are definitely different than the recent ones I've did, and it's because my tension has changed. I also don't quite remember which hook I used the first time around. not a big deal. But one thing I have realized is using these metal crochet hooks. The one I have for my blanket that's going already, the granny stripe blanket, is better. But using just the plain, I don't know if you guys can see that, the plain metal, they kill my hand. My ring finger and pinky finger get super like stuck, I guess is the easy way to say it. They get stuck, they get crazy crampy. I don't like it. So I think I died some hair. I think I really want to keep my eyes peeled. So a tulip squishy handle crochet hook. Quite a few skeins. Yeah, that's the main stuff I wanted to talk about that was actual like making related. But the in addition to the sweater, I cast on a new project with kind of double stash yarn. My Birch Grove by Christina bag, which I believe this is her winter animals print one. I have, so this skein of yarn, which I believe I have close-ups of in my other footage, which hopefully will come in here. Alrighty, so my main color is the I Smell Snow colorway from the Stress Knits Yarn Club that I did was it last summer? Into the fall? I can't quite remember when it was, but I hope you can pick up on some of those sparkles that are coming up. There's gold stellina in this. It's stunning. It's the palest of pinks with the palest of blues, and it is just gorgeous. My contrast color, there we go, is this little stunner that I received in the mail fairly recently. I actually picked it up from Stacy of Stress Knits from her D-stash. So this is a skein of Woolen Vine Blitzed in the Grim colorway. So it is kind of a tonal black, as solidly as we can get it kind of type of thing, with the gold stellina. I believe they are the same base. They have very similar twists. So I thought they would pair perfectly together. So they've gone together into a shawl. And that shawl would be the Flyaway Twist, or Flyaway Twist, which I haven't touched in probably a week. But there's my little curly cue of the end. So my main color is the I Smell Snow, and then when I get into the brioche, I've got that Grim coming into play. The final section of the shawl is you pick up around the long edge, yep, and you end up knitting with your contrast color. So I think it will really kind of balance out the shawl quite nicely, and I am liking it. It just seems very stark contrast now because there's all of this black that starts coming in, but I think in the end it'll just kind of all work really well together. Also looks good with the sweater, I think. But it's fun. I'm still very, very new when it comes to brioche. Don't know how to anticipate what row is next. I can tell when I've done something wrong, and then I can usually kind of go, oh, I see, I did the wrong row, which is not bad. But like if I just looked at this now, I wouldn't know if I have to do the brioche purl or the brioche knit first. I cannot tell that. So if anybody knows any tricks to figuring that out, would you please pass me a note as if we're in like grade school, because that would be I just don't know what it is. Like, I don't know. I think I see, is that a mistake in there? I don't know. But it would be nice to be able to put it down, pick it up without having to look at the pattern. To go, oh yeah, I'm doing this row. Because I just don't know. One thing that is really nice about this pattern, the decreases are just regular decreases and increases. Like, there's no funky brioche increases and decreases going on, which is kind of nice for my brain. I don't need like that much extra stuff to work on or keep track of, but I'm enjoying it. I'm thinking I try to work one complete brioche repeat at a time, which I think is like a 16 row repeat. Not bad. They go fairly quickly as of now because my rows are still on the shorter side, but I'm thinking I'll use that as like a palette cleanser for when I get through a good portion of the color work yoke on my sweater, just so that my hands don't get too like cramped up or something. And then I also managed to get progress done on both. As for future projects coming up, I have one to talk about. I'll be right back. Okie dokie. So I'm hoping to get this project on the needles pretty quickly as well, but I have a little bit more of a longer time frame to knit it in, and it's just a one skein shawl. So this is a really lovely skein of Tuscan Knits that I ordered early summer, I think. I don't think I've ever shown it on the podcast because it kind of went straight into the stash. It's gorgeous. I'm really into like blushy tones and stuff lately, so this one is just absolutely wonderful. And this is on Maria's Wee Nook base, or Wee Nook base. The Wee Nook base, which is 100% non-superwash merino, which just feels amazing. It's got a really nice twist on it too, which I'm really excited to use, but for the longest time I just couldn't decide on what to do with it. So I'm going to show you a little bit more of those colors. There is some very light kind of burgundies that come into play, and then a little bit more of like a brownie, brown color, taupey color. It's gorgeous. This colorway is the Love Letter colorway, which I think she's still doing, but it's gorgeous. And I was talking to Maria, and I think we kind of settled that the Spindrift shawl by Helen Stewart, Curious Handmade, would work really, really nicely. So, for the beads, there's another one kind of sticking in there. I don't know if I would do like the silvery ones. They're a little too off. But I'm thinking some of these would work quite well. So these ones are kind of pearlescent, I guess. Where is the damn focus? No. Haha, that looks better. Pearlescent. These ones are a little bit more like pinky, which I think these ones are kind of taking the cake for me. But then there's these ones that are more of an opaque, creamy, pearly one. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Looks alright. Maybe. Sure. So that should get on the needles relatively soon, and I want to have it done for the Friday of Rhinebeck weekend because I'm going to be at Maria's booth. I am so excited. Maria sent out a little call for helpers two weeks ago, last week on our episode of her podcast. I jumped at it, and I'm so excited that she's letting me help her. So I believe what's happening is I'll be helping check people out so that she can actually be talking with people that much more. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I know that Lorelei of the Handmade by Lorelei podcast is also helping out, which is very exciting. And I think there's one more person by the name of Jenny. Not sure who exactly Jenny is, but I'll get to meet you. I'm so excited. It's going to be fantastic. And that is at the Indie Untangled show on the Friday of Rhinebeck weekend. So one of the main reasons why I decided to do it is it's going to help me rein in the purchases a little bit. I'm going to be helping Maria sell her yarn, which is fantastic. It's going to keep my eyes having a little bit of some blindfolders on, which is fantastic. I believe there's only maybe 2 or 3 other booths that I really want to check out there, so I'm not going to go crazy, and I'm not going to have the time to go crazy, which is, I'm very excited about it. So if you come, I'll get to see you there too. I'm so excited. But that's something that's coming up sooner than later. And then I've also received this skein from Orange Flower Yarns, which is just wonderful. It's a darker pinky blush tone, but I'm pretty sure I bought it with the intention of making the Fleece and Z hat by the Wool Club, which is Verena Kors. It's really pretty. It's got like quite a bit of earthy tones to it. I really like it, and I think it works for a hat. I don't think it makes me look like muddy or anything. It's the Jovial colorway on her Superwash Merino DK weight, and it's lovely. So I'm excited to get that going. I kind of think I could take this with me on the trip. It's a hat. It doesn't require a huge amount of like space. It should be pretty good. But that's all I've really got going on. I have no idea what my next sweater is going to be. I haven't even swatched for a next sweater, and I should probably do that soon. But there is, I have the yarn for the drift pattern, which is by Kristen Finley of Skein Yarn, which has like a circular yoke with eyelets that go all through it. The eyelets are supposed to continue down the sleeves. Maybe I could swatch for that. Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of debating my color choice now. And then there's of course the campsite that I talked about the last few weeks by Alicia Plummer. It's the cardigan that I have the Allison Barnes yarn for, which is just gorgeous. I mean, I guess I can swatch for both because they're both getting knit at some point. But I just haven't done that yet. So we'll see. As far as further acquisitions, I don't have anything to show because I didn't pull anything out yarn wise, but I did receive some stitch markers in the mail yesterday. Honey and Toot stitch markers. This is a candy apple, which is gorgeous. This is a pumpkin spice latte to-go cup, and I believe, yeah, the actual white of the cup is glitter. What? And then another candy apple, but this one is caramel, and it's got nuts or score bits depending on which way you roll. So that is super fun. I can't wait to use them, which I'm sure will be soon enough. I have quite the little collection of stitch markers now, or progress keepers, however you want to talk about them. I don't always use them. I don't have any progress keepers on my sweater. I just kind of forget to put them on. And once I finish this section, like, I'm past it. I'm done. Whatever. It's good. But I'm gonna try and start to use them more. We'll just kind of see what happens. But I think that is it for me today. If you are coming to Knit City, I hope to see you there. Next weekend, man. So soon. And if you're at Rhinebeck, I will see you there as well. Please don't be afraid to come up and say hi. It's going to be a crazy weekend, both weekends, but let's have the best yarny times together if you happen to be there as well. I am going to try and take footage at both events. My phone now has way more storage on it, so I should be good to go. We'll see. I don't promise any miraculous things, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll get something together. Even if it's not actual videos, I'm sure there'll be pictures. But that is all for me today. I hope you have a very good week, weekend, day, evening, whatever you may be enjoying at the moment and tomorrow. Let's get back to knitting, shall we? Bye, guys. I lied. Completely lied to you all. I forgot to talk about my yarn that I dyed. Ooh. That I dyed, oopsie, 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 at some point during the weekend when I dyed some yarn. They're okay. They're not my favorite. This one I'm okay with a little bit more. Just kind of playing around, seeing what I could do. I don't know. They're okay. This one has a little bit more purple in it. It's a little bit brighter than that in real life, I think. I don't know. Hard to tell. They're okay. They're okay. The first skein I dyed on that weekend was totally inspired by my friend Jess, who has the Knit Up and Dye podcast and runs Dye Monkey Yarns. I'm gonna just bring this in a little bit more. Whatever, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I have been drinking lots of coffee with maple syrup in it, and it's been delicious and so inspired by it when I watched one of her most recent podcasts. Because she was talking about how inspiration can come from anywhere. It can come from walking outside and smelling fresh rainy air, and then you just create this beautiful thing. Or it could be, I think she was talking about old newspapers with old coffee stains, and it can come from anything. Anything. It can come from a conversation with friends that you have guacamole in your pockets. It can come from anything. So this is the first one that I dyed. This is maple syrup in my coffee, and I absolutely love it. I wasn't 100% sold on it when it was still wet and in the process of drying. I am so in love with it. There's little bits of more kind of black that come through, which remind me of more like coffee grinds. There's some splashes of a more browny red in there, which is kind of like maple leaves, and a lot of the gold, which is what I wanted because maple syrup has that kind of goldeny color to it. So I'm very, very happy with it. No idea how it'll knit up, but I think it'll be really, really pretty. I'm thinking should probably be a pair of socks. but at the same time, I'm still not really into knitting socks. So we'll see what happens with that, but super pretty. And then I tried to dye it again, but because when that one was wet, I was like, ooh, I don't know. Ugh. Like, I really didn't think that it looked as nice as it does. So I went for more, rather than putting dye into the pot when the yarn was already in there, I tried to have a good base color going in the pot and then putting the yarn in. And this is what I got. So it's definitely more of a tonal skein. It's definitely still brown. There's some red tones in there. There's a lot of gold tones. It's kind of like a rose gold skein a little bit more. I love it. I absolutely love it. If I could have this in a sweater, it would make me so happy. It's so pretty. This one I knew I loved when it came out of the pot. I absolutely, actually, I don't use dye pots. I have dye roasting pans that I picked up from the Salvation Army. They work quite fine for now. I'll have to get something else if I decide to dye more, but we'll just use those for now because that's what I have. It's kind of working. There we go. So, maple syrup in my coffee, lot 2. And then I decided to really play. This one, because I wanted to try and go lighter with colors, this is Unicorn Poop. Yep. So I started off with a very light pink base. And I didn't quite have enough dye, so then I mixed up what I thought was similar. And it turned out to be a little more purple, which you can see a little bit more. And then I just went speckle crazy. I really like it. It's really fun. It's hard to do light colors. It definitely requires a good amount of restraint, which is hard. Like, it's so fun just to pile color on because you're like, yeah, color. But this one, you know, I tried to rein it in a little bit, but it's super fun. And Unicorn Poop, because why not? And then I think this might be my most favorite skein that came out of the freaking roasting pans. This is a spooky Halloween spellbook, and I kind of can't believe I did it. Like, it's just so I don't know what to say about it, but it's so pretty. I don't think it's a very traditional colorway that I would go for. Like, it's not something that, like, oh yeah, I have 20 of those similar in my stash. Like, it's definitely not. It is highly speckled, like highly speckled. And I started with silver and got that nicely throughout the whole skein, and then I decided it needed to be a little bit darker, so I made another little batch of silver, but I darkened it with some black. I, you know, increased that intensity a little bit, and then speckle crazy. So I think, yeah, it's coming up here. So there's a little bit more of this tealy green that comes through, because that section where I speckled had just a little bit more water that the dye kind of went out a little bit more. But there is purple in here, gold, yellow, orange, green, blue. There's everything. And I think this is just, it's a spooky Halloween spellbook. It's so cool. I really like it. For all of these yarns, I use the Knit Picks Hawthorne, which is an 80-20 Highland Peruvial wool and nylon. it's an okay yarn. I don't mind it. They're slightly short in yards. I think they're 382 yards. It's alright, but I just want to order all the bear yarn and have so much fun. But I'd really appreciate having a separate dye space and being able to just trash the place, like not have to worry about the counter and blah 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 blah. But all in time, potentially, probably not anytime soon. But again, thank you for joining me today. I'll splice this in somewhere.